foster dog just showed up at your house. Congratulations, but what now? I've had that thought with every foster dog that has arrived at my house. I've looked at this little creature that is now fully reliant on me and thought, oh, what am I doing now? But more recently, with the foster dogs that I've had this year, it's been a little bit easier because I know my routine now and what I prefer to do with a foster dog that has just arrived and how to better help them settle in. Whereas with the first few, I was just sort of doing what I thought was best and hoping that it helped the dog. So I thought I would make this video to just give you a bit of advice as to what I have found has worked with the first day settling in my foster dog. The first thing comes before they even arrive at your house, which is arranging a time for them to be dropped off or for you to pick them up from the shelter. And I find this quite important. I like to try and arrange the arrival for around midday or early afternoon. And the reason for this is because often the dogs have to travel a fair distance in the car to get to my house. And I don't want them having to travel shortly after breakfast when they've got a full stomach and they're feeling anxious, and it's more likely to just get them feeling a bit ill and car sick. And I don't want them in that sort of nauseous state of mind when they arrive home, because it's not really going to help them settle if they're physically feeling unwell, as well as being afraid of what's happening. So early afternoon is great because it's a while after breakfast, but you still have a few hours of time to help settle them in and get to know them before you're feeding them dinner, at which point they have hopefully calmed down enough that you'll be able to see that they're eating dinner or be able to pick up on any issues if they're not. When their foster dog does arrive, the first thing that I do is I like to let them out in the back garden. This can be off lead if the foster coordinator feels that they can be trusted to not immediately try and break out of the garden, or it can be on the lead if that's the case and they might have more trouble, or if they're not as responsive and you don't know that they will recall in. Usually we have dogs that are okay being off lead, so I don't think I've ever had a dog that I haven't been okay with just letting off the garden on the first day. But it might be different in your situation, so always double check with the coordinator. But the reason that I like to let them straight out into the garden is because they may have had that long car journey and be needing the toilet. You don't want to start things off by them immediately having an accident in your house and having to deal with that. So letting them out back is a really great way to just let them get all of those needs out of the way, as well as get them into a state of marking that area. Because if they mark the area outside, they will start to feel more comfortable. Dogs like to mark in the local area that they live so that they're communicating the message to everyone else by scent of, I live here now. And it just settles something in their instincts. So giving that opportunity straight away to make the place smell like them is also good. And again, reduces the likelihood of them marking straight away inside the house as well. And I like to use this time when they're out in the garden to just chat with the coordinator that has dropped them off a little bit more and find out more details about them that I may not have found over the phone, go over some of the paperwork, like the medications they might be on and the food schedule they might be on, that sort of thing. I use that time to learn a bit more about them before the coordinator has to leave. Once the coordinator is out the door, you're on your own. You and this dog just have to figure things out. And the way that I do that is I unpack them. And I like to talk them through the process as I'm unpacking. So I let them know, oh, I've found your bed, let's put that over here. Oh, here are your food bowls, we'll put those down later, but for now we'll put them up in this cupboard. And I like to show them the whole thing, let them have a sniff if they want to, because it just gets them involved with the idea of you are the person they are going to be interacting with. And it gets them familiar with maybe if they've come with an item that came from their original home, they can sniff it and then see where it's gone. Or they can have the item because you've unpacked it now for them. And it can help reassure the dogs a bit just to hear your voice talking in a calm tone. You're not hyping them up and getting them anxious. You're not cooing over them, making them worried about what's wrong. You're just talking regularly as you go through the process. And this unpacking is a really great moment because it can just make sure that you've got everything set for your first day and night together. So, for example, some dogs that arrive will need to have medication straight away. And foster coordinators often have a lot on their plates. They've got a lot of different dogs to go to. they may not have mentioned that. So I double check the notes and just make sure, oh, okay, that tablet is due then, this one is due then, this one needs to be done every day, and it just makes sure that I'm not skipping any important medication on that first day. As well, checking the items that you've got is important. So I once had a little terrier come along that really needed a small terrier-sized bowl that he would be able to eat comfortably out of, but the bowl hadn't been packed in the bags. So I didn't actually check that until later in the evening when the rescue had already shut for the night. So he had to eat his morning and his evening meals in a huge bowl that was more suited for a Labrador, and was just sort of like leaning over it to try and get at the food. And I was able to go and pick up the actual bowls the next day, so that was fine. But it would have been much easier if I'd noticed that straight away and just called up the coordinator before they'd even gone away and been like, can you just check, are they still in the car? The next thing that I like to do is going to be very dog dependent. So I like to go for a walk because it gets them out exercising. It gives them the chance to go and mark around in more of their local area. It gives them a chance to get to know the smells, to settle in and hear some of the sounds that they are going to hear from within the house, just around outside, and maybe connect the dots as to what they are. So if they've never heard busy traffic before, they'll be able to hear the road outside and realise what that is. And it also means that you're going to start forming a bond with them. Dogs are pack animals, so a dog that walks with someone regularly will naturally see that person as more in their pack than other people. So by walking together, you are like kickstarting that connection of, we are together, you can rely on me, we'll look after each other on walks and in the house. But like I say, this is dog dependent. Some fosters are going to be medical fosters who are in too much pain to go for a walk. Some are going to be extremely reactive to either dogs or people and they can't go out of the house. So you can do this either in the house on a lead or in your back garden, or even if they're not lead trained, you can just take them and talk to them on like a guided tour of the house, for example. Something that will just mimic that natural exercise and walking together as a pack can really help just bring them back down, settle them down. I know when I get anxious, if I go out for a walk, my nerves will calm down. So it's just trying to replicate that in the dog. After walking around, I actually make them settle somewhere for a little bit. So the exercise has helped bring their levels back down to a more regular amount. But now they're probably tired from their long day of travel and learning new environments and meeting you and all of that. And that tiredness is going to cause grouchiness and potentially stress and exacerbate any injuries, that sort of thing. So I like to just get the dog to either settle in a comfortable area that's going to be where it's sleeping, or maybe even on the sofa near me or on my lap if it needs that reassurance. I just try and get at least an hour in of the dog going to sleep and realising that it can fully relax in this house. I like to get in this time before bedtime to make sure that it can fully sleep, wake up, I'm still there, and it's reassured that this is a safe place to rest. It's just a great decompression moment. And it also builds up the dog to knowing eventually when I leave it alone, oh, I can sleep here during the daytime as well because I did that on day one and nothing bad happened. One thing that I don't let my fosters do anymore that I used to at the start is letting them wander everywhere in the house. So for a foster dog, you want to be able to set up boundaries straight away. And the way that I do that now is by gating off different areas and introducing them slowly into different areas once I know they can be trusted in the area that I originally had them. And this helps with the dog as well, with not just completely overwhelming it with all of these rooms to go in, all of these rooms to check. Is there danger in here? Is there anything I can get? Is there food? What is there? Is there a sleeping spot? It's just a lot of new information for the dog, rather than just putting them in 1 or 2 rooms, staying in there with them and just slowly getting them used to the idea of, I live here now. And I found that that slow introduction to different rooms in my house over the first few days has really helped with my more recent fosters. By this time, it's approaching dinner time, so this is a great chance to see how the dog is eating. Normally, I like to use kibble to hand feed because I will involve it in training and on walks rather than using a lot of fattening treats. However, on this first night, my goal is to find out how stressed is the dog and does the dog have any issues, potentially medical issues related to feeding. And a way to do that is to just feed normally with a bowl of food, see if they're willing to eat it, how much they'll eat, if they'll eat with you in the presence or if you need to be gone, or the other way round, if they need you there or they won't eat. It's just a good way to gauge what state of mind is this dog in when it's around food. And then it's the first night, which I will make another video about. These first few hours of when a foster dog arrives, for me, are all about making sure the dog knows they can look to me for their needs and they can settle here without worrying. And it may not happen on the first day, it can take some time, but at the very least, these building blocks are the way that I like to make sure the dog is initially feeling comfortable here and has decompressed enough that we're hopefully going into our first night with a good mindset. I hope this video helps you feel more comfortable and confident about the idea of your foster dog arriving and what to do with it for those first few hours. If it did help you, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I'll have more videos coming soon, and it helps me know that I'm doing something that will provide you with good information.